I think if you can have the option to play and really just in regards to the lingerie league or being feminine, or you know, you don't have to conform to any particular stereotype anymore. It's very much, yeah, it's very much a dying trend to have to look a certain way, or like, you know, you have to be butch to play rugby, or you don't, you know, play anything in particular, netball. Or I think society is changing. I think we're more open to whatever people want to do.
Hello and thanks for hitting play on the latest episode of the Women's Rugby Show. I'm Siobhan McCall.
And I'm Kirsty Schultz.
Now on today's show we have a special interview for you. We have done a one-to-one sit down with Australian and Harlequins forward Chloe Butler, and we talked to her about a variety of topics. She has had such a fascinating career. Do not miss it. We'll be talking about this season in the Till Premier 15s, her career back in Australia and her time playing in the LFL. Now, if you don't know what that is, stay tuned. We'll tell you exactly what that is.
Thank you for that. And if that's not enough for you, then check out our previous video where I put 2 Harlequins ladies through their paces at Surrey Sports Park, and I made them do 3 separate challenges.
And don't forget, if you love your women's rugby and you enjoy what we do here on the Women's Rugby Show, make sure you like this video, make sure you follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel and comment on the video. Let us know who else you want us to interview, what other challenges you want to see. We want to know more about what you love about this channel, and make sure most of all that you tell everyone about it and about what we do, so we can get more and more followers and help this grow. Hello, thank you for joining us, and we have got a first on the Women's Rugby Show. We've got a sit-down interview with Australia and Harlequins forward Chloe Butler. Chloe, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you today?
Yeah, really good, really good. We've had some sunny days in England, so feeling very nostalgic as an Aussie in the sunshine. Yeah.
I've been looking over your career with interest, and I'm sure our viewers will be really interested to hear where it began. And we'll take it through like a timeline, so we'll take it back to the very beginning. Tell us how you got started out in sport. I saw that you were in athletics when you were young. Did you come from a sporting family?
Pretty much, Siobhan. I grew up on a cattle property in the north of Australia. Yeah, and I pretty much grew up chasing pigs and kangaroos, and literally, you know, that was your pastime hobbies. Yeah, some of my cousins actually say, like, absolute no surprise that Chloe went on to, you know, be a female athlete, because she was always, you know, running down the flat, yeah, flat out. So yeah, no, but and then I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to play sport, moving into the city. Obviously growing up in the outback, I didn't get a lot of opportunity to play sport. And then when I did get a taste of it, I just couldn't look back. I think my parents probably seen that and appreciate that I wanted to then move, you know, and stay along the coast there in Australia and play sport. So yeah, I moved down to Canberra when I was about 19, and I was a runner. Yeah, I trained at the Australian Institute of Sport, and yeah, I was fortunate to represent my country in under 20s and juniors for 400 and 400 hurdles. And then I had a few injuries, very common in that territory. I had a few feet injuries, constantly nagging and chronic, and went on. And yeah, unfortunately, I kind of lost my spot there, and then decided to try a contact sport, which is kind of contradicting of that. But yeah.
Thanks. Incredible summary there. You've done so much stuff. So let's break it down a bit more. Am I right in saying that you did a bit of cheerleading as well?
Oh my gosh.
Taking it right back. Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, I did. So before running, I actually had a stint in gymnastics as well. So I was a gymnast. So yeah, I wanted to, first of all, it was to make friends. So when I moved to Canberra for the Australian Institute of Sport, I was really lonely. I didn't really have any friends. Being an individual sport athlete as well, you kind of not graced with a team of mates. Yeah, and so I just went down to our local stadium where they play from Canberra Stadium there. It's on the same campus as our running track. And I just thought, I'll have a go at cheerleading, because I wanted to be able to use my gymnastics still. I thought that'd be such a waste, you know. And I thought it would it'd be a good way to make friends and yeah, keep me fit as well. I thought as long as I could do backflips and stuff, it's a good sign, like I'm still moving well. But yeah, so that is a part of my. I did some high kicks when I was younger.
Was there ever something you wanted to pursue further, or was it just, as you said, help with the loneliness, help with settling in?
Yeah, definitely. It was really fun and yeah, it was interesting. You know, like I think you could probably say there's a little bit of not marketing, but you know, a cheerleader is perceived as feminine and then I went on to that lingerie football league, which was quite, you know, controversial and debated by society. And I just found it interesting that they allowed you to kick your leg up and dance on the sideline and look feminine, but when you wanted to play it in sport, it was then contradicting of people's acceptance, you know. So I just, that was quite interesting for me, you know. I thought, well, why is that accepted and not the other?
And I just realised that some of our viewers are probably thinking, what is the lingerie football league? Please can you just enlighten them a little bit more exactly what it involved? And I mean, something that's come to my mind is, was it painful?
Was it painful?
Yeah.
Contact sport is contact sport, to be honest. You really, yeah. I mean, obviously there was a little bit of turf issue if you don't have a lot of protection on, but you really don't think about it. Like, I couldn't say I probably had less grazes and cuts than I do in rugby, and you have more clothes on. So it's yeah, obviously there's only 7 people on the field, but and I actually had a brother in LA who was acting at the time, and I wanted to visit him. And
talented family.
yeah, I know. I'm not sure what was in the water out in the outback, but yeah, something that made us want to go and conquer the world. But yeah, and there was an American football league at the time happening, and in my very younger days, many moons ago, I did a little bit of modelling, and anyway, I was at this assignment, and there were some girls there from LA, so this was in Australia, and they said, you should come and try this gridiron league we have in America, at the time called Lingerie Football League. It's now called the Legends Football League. Yeah, it was a little bit different, a bit left of centre, but I watched a few of the highlight clips, and you know, they were hitting, like, you know, full on and fair income. So there was no disrespect there in what they were delivering, you know, on an athletic performance basis. But yeah, so and I wanted to see my brother, as I mentioned. He'd been over there for a few years, so I just went over and did it, and it was great fun. Yeah, got to travel the world and meet, you know, some of my best friends, and it was a really high caliber of athleticism. Like, some of the girls were WNBA players. I had American track and field, Mexican soccer players, you know, yeah, various girls who had collegiate scholarships for different sports. So there was no lack of athletic ability. Obviously, the marketing was what it was, and you know, I kind of really didn't think about it, because coming from running, we wore, you know, bombers and a crop top anyway, so it didn't really bother me that much. I kind of just cracked on with it all. But
when you look back on that, what do you think? Like, you know, we're in a sort of climate now where perhaps that's not as acceptable as it was in the past, and how do you look back on your time in that sport?
Yeah.
Is that something you're proud of?
I am, Siobhan. I mean, you know, at the time, the only reason I played lingerie football was because there was nothing else happening. No other, you know, there weren't a lot of platforms happening, and it was either give up sport or do something that got me around the world, you know. And as I mentioned, it was a really high athletic caliber, so it kept me enticed. Obviously, at the time, I didn't have any other opportunities. It was either quit sport or go and play on the other side of the world, and obviously in a different marketing ploy. But as I mentioned, it was a really high athletic caliber, so it definitely enticed me, and there was no lack of, you know, that motivation and skillful competition for me. Otherwise, I just wouldn't have played it if it was powder puff. But you know, I read a stat the other day that said 54% or 57% of women quit sport after 24. And so it just goes to show I was pretty much at that age where I didn't have a whole lot happening in choices of playing at that next level, you know, because you do climb the ranks, and you do, you know, like, you, as an athlete, you need something to keep you going, to keep you hungry. And yeah, as you know, society has now kind of evolved and changed. I don't think that exists as much. You don't have to, like the England women recently got contracts, and I just think that's so great. I think if you can have the option to play and really just in regards to the lingerie league or being feminine, or you know, you don't have to conform to any particular stereotype anymore. It's very much, yeah, it's very much a dying trend to have to look a certain way, or like, you know, you have to be butch to play rugby, or you don't, you know, play anything in particular, netball. I think society is changing. I think we're more open to whatever people want to do, and we just support their choices, and yeah, the minority is probably better heard these days.
You're clearly very glamorous. I mean, you've said in the past that you like to sometimes play wearing makeup, and you know, you've done modelling, so clearly, you know, the rugby stereotypes, the parts that you said like about being butch are not the case. Do you think that young girls are responding to that more? Like, do you see more interest in playing the sport?
Yeah, I think I just think it's great from society in general just to be more open-minded about what you can do and what you want to do, and there's no fixed set of, you know, predetermined ideologies around any particular sport, which is really good, because rugby is such a great sport, and yeah, you know, for discipline, for resilience in life, for problem solving, like, you know, sport is really about problem solving. And you know, I played a lot of different sports before I found rugby, which is, you know, now my main love, and obviously got me to travel and play all over the world, and has given me an amazing career opportunity, you know, going on to coach and things as well. But yeah, I think I'd say people are changing their views on what rugby, how it's seen, and just generally.
Picking up there what you said about, so rugby is where you really found your passion. What was it about it that really clicked for you?
It was definitely the team sport. So I'd always been more in an individual. Well, gridiron was team sport, and I obviously really enjoyed that. But definitely the camaraderie. I think to get the best out of an athlete, you have a lot of different types of people in your team. You know, you have good cop, bad cop, and the way different ways that coaches see an athlete and their ability, the way you draw it out of them, is really powerful. And yeah, I think rugby is really great at that, because you've got strong people, you know, different body shape. You've got tall, thin people, you know, you've got fast, whippy people, you've got short, you know, little ankle nippers, things like that, you know. So there really is something for everyone, and as a teammate, you really appreciate all the differences in your team, you know, and you can't go on without that one or that one or that one. So yeah, sounds a bit cliche, but it is very true. And you really appreciate that, so yeah.
You're obviously a forward, but we've seen a video of you with a number 11 on your back, racing down the wing. Tell us about how that changed.
Yeah. Too many pints and pies, Siobhan. That's how it changed. No. Went down to my local rugby club, and just had some really passionate coaches. Fortunate enough to just kind of give me everything that I needed, all the tools, all the input. That was at Parramatta 2 Blues. Yeah, no, I was actually about 23, 24, so it was quite late to start, you would say. But yeah, so just went down there, and one of my coaches, she's actually sister of Leicester hooker Tatafu Politanau, and obviously Wallaby as well. Obviously you probably don't, not as well known of the Aussie players, but yeah, a very good Aussie player, and obviously coming from that rugby family and knowledge. His sister, yeah, taught me everything I know, and she said to me, like, there's a spot in the Aussie team if you know, put your head down and bum up and just work on these things for the next, you know, year, potentially you could make that team, and I did. So it was very, yeah, no one kind of seen it coming, and I just kept knocking on the doors, and I just kept opening, and yeah. So I was a runner in my earlier days, so when you start, generally it's come play, and usually it's on the wing. Well, a lot of the time if people think you can run, they say play on the wing, all you got to do is score the tries. But yeah, I actually really love the breakdown, and I love the contact, and the coach I was telling you about, Moala Politanau, she said to me, no, come into the centre. I'm like, what do you mean? I said I play wing. She's like, you're you know, too dominant at the breakdown and tackling. She's like, come in here. I was like, okay. But no, yeah, it's probably not the best on your body in the number 7 jersey. Not a whole lot of respect for your body or your face always jumping in there. But yeah, no, moved to the inside, and I think kind of just picks you.
Yeah, you certainly achieved well there.
Oh.
Tell us about what it was like to get your first cap for your country.
Yeah, as I mentioned, it was kind of a quick journey, you know, through that regionals and state level and then national for me. Obviously coming from other sports, I had a lot of the base and a lot of your foundations for, you know, footwork and speed and just general go forward. And obviously gridiron helped me with the contact part as well. But generally, yeah, you come from a lot of power sports, it's very translatable. But yeah, so my journey to the Aussie team, it was quite fast and unexpected. And I remember going over to New Zealand and getting caught up in the number 8 jersey, and I hadn't really played number 8. I think you get put in the second row because default you're either tall and lanky, or you don't know the game well enough. When you're on the edges of the scrum, you really got to be able to read your defense and obviously read plays a little bit more. You kind of the mesh between your backs and your forwards, so you really need to be able to slot in there. Whereas your second rows kind of just plonk around the field, and they definitely need them, you know, they're the nail in the wood. But yeah, so I got asked to play number 8, but I kind of thought, oh cracky, like. And obviously being neighbouring country to New Zealand, it is quite a rival to go against.
Oh yeah.
So I knew that I had a lot against me,
or
up against me, yeah. And I was probably 20, 30 kilos lighter than my opponent. But you know, I think with any positive type of approach, you just say, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I will do, and just give your best and try to adapt. And you know, if someone asks you to do a job, you just accept it and you say, well, I must be the best person for this. And, you know, regardless of what anyone thinks, I'm here to give it my best shot. And that's really just what I did. So, yeah, but hopefully grown a lot since that game.
And obviously you played at World Cup as well. Tell us about the 2014 World Cup. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was amazing. Obviously coming to Europe and Paris as an Australian, I'd never been over here, so it was absolutely amazing. And all the communities just were so welcoming and so lovely. Yeah, so that was, and it really hit home how rugby is a community, and it really is worldwide, you know, a language. Like we did a coaching clinic for a school one day, and there was like 100 odd kids. None of them could speak a drop of English, but just without saying anything, their like interactions and just their faces and their energy, and it was such a beautiful thing. Like just that, you know, you didn't need to say a thing, and everyone was just so happy to be there. So.
And women's rugby really popular in France, as where the World Cup was held. Did that help?
It didn't have women playing it, that's for sure. I feel like I think I went home just chanting le bleu, no. Yeah, no, it was definitely really exciting, and I think the last few World Cups have been pretty evident. That one was sold out, Ireland was sold out. You just, you know, for people to wanting to watch the game, as it's getting more professional, it's getting faster and more entertaining. So, yeah, but no, in Paris it was, and I think they're doing well. They won the Six Nations last year, and just generally, obviously they're in the semi-final in Ireland, so just growing and going forward really well as a country. So, yeah.
Let's move on now to fast forward to 2017, and you moved to England, you joined Richmond. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so I went, actually early in the year, I went over to New Zealand for the Four Nations against England, who else was in it? Canada, New Zealand, Australia, yeah. And I actually just heard some England girls talking about the Tyrrell's Premiership. It just sounded really great, and I thought, oh, I heard them talking about it in an elevator and a lift, and I was like, oh, okay. Just kind of planted the seed in my mind. So yeah, that was the Lions tour. And then the World Cup wasn't long after that, about 3 months, I think, or a couple of months after that. Yeah, and then I just got the bug then. I came over and I really wanted to know what the rest of the world were up to. Obviously Southern Hemisphere rugby, you know, we're so far away. all our we have different systems, different style of play, and just wanted to know what was, you know, obviously England and that doing really well, and we played them in New Zealand, and they were really hard to beat, and we couldn't beat them with our normal tactics. So I wanted to know what it was that you guys are doing over here and what they teach. And yeah, so I literally put my visa application in while I was in Ireland, and went home, packed my bag, gave my dog to my sister, here you go, in my car, bye.
Oh, wow. Quick move then.
Yeah, and Richmond at the time, obviously, they'd lost a lot of girls to Quins, because I think there was a coach movement. And so they were really on a hot recruitment trail. At the time, I'd actually already said yes to Sarries. And then Sarries, Richmond, they had a recruitment manager who was just not giving up, wasn't taking no as an answer. And I was like, look, I can appreciate you guys really trying to recruit. And I know Sarries was a very dominant team, so, you know, I thought no one likes to have just one or two dominant teams in the comp. You need lots, you know, to make it a good comp. But and then it was also a location thing too. I didn't know how long I was going to be here for, so I wanted that inner London experience rather than the outskirts. So
it's a nice place.
Yeah, so it was obviously Richmond were in a bit of a development phase, coming off the back of losing a lot of players to another club. Yeah, so but no, it was great. You know, the first winter was rough. I hadn't really experienced winter ever. I didn't realise that I hadn't until I experienced it. So yeah, playing in snow, and that was definitely an eye-opener. And then yeah, I'm guessing your next question is going to be about the move to Quins and how that happened.
You're on to me.
Yeah. So I worked with a couple of Quins girls. I lived with a Quins girl, and it was just an easy path forward, you know, like being able to liaise with your housemate and be like, you know, chat about tactics, what's going on at training, literally carpool, and the same at work, you know, working with several of the girls, Leanne Riley and Holly Myers, and yeah, it was just an easy go forward to change clubs, and obviously really loving it at Quins. So yeah.
What's it like working under Karen and Gary?
It's great. Yeah, really, really great coaches and people for the game in general. You know, not just for girls. They could coach boys too. Anything, but yeah, just really wonderful people to have. Yeah, in your life and in your coaching, in your athletic life as well. Like, yeah, but it's really wonderful, and obviously, you know, can't say enough about the platform they've got going here. We've got around 12 support staff for our team, you know, wellbeing officers, and access to facilities with the boys. You know, they really, yeah, they've really put a lot of emphasis on making sure it's a one club, yeah, and with the girls and boys sharing facilities, and just general so much respect from the boys, and it's awesome. Yeah, it's brought a different part out of my playing, and I really appreciate that.
And on the field, things are going well this season. Lost just twice. What's been all your take on this season so far?
Yeah, like any team, you know, you're battling injury here and there, swapping personnel in and out according to your game plan. Really, no two team game plans are ever the same, you know. So yeah, and Karen and Gary are really good at managing that, and just general player management. You know, it's such a fragile thing, you know, dropping someone or telling someone we don't need you for this game, but it's so important because you do need that player. You need them, you don't know when, you might need them next week, you might need them at training every week, you need them, you know, and the best teams are those players that stay hungry no matter what's happening, you know, because when you get that time, you also then shine like you were always meant to be there, you know, so you've made something extra out of this player who anyone maybe or someone may have just benched, you know, and thought, oh no, they're just a bench player, or they're just this, or they're just that. When if you put that bit of belief in them and you give them a regimen and feedback and support, they just flourish, you know, and they are really good at that. And I think when we played a game against Was, and we had like 7 of our starters playing for England. That was the only game that really was affected from Six Nations. The rest we haven't had games because of that, but most of the safety, like fielding teams and stuff. And we won. It was a tough game, but it just goes to show that some of our bench that haven't been playing 80 minutes came up and just really, you know, shown. And like, you're so proud as a player, you know. But like, I know you've had so much like You know, so many times you've been dropped and pushed and pulled, but for you to step up and play like that is like so awesome. And it's just a great, yeah, to be in a team like that, because you've got so much mutual respect for each other.
That hunger and passion, is that why you mentioned earlier that you're going down sort of coaching route? Is that one of the reasons why that's so appealing to you?
Yeah, it was kind of just a natural progression in my life. To be honest, when I was younger, everyone said to me, "Oh, you should do PT, Chloe." And at the time when I was training so much, I thought I couldn't think of anything worse than having to train people when I'm not training. But then when I started coaching, when I was working for Lions at the company, I realised I really love it, and it actually brought out. Actually learned how to be a better leader, and yeah, it just brought a lot out of me as a player and a person, and just going back again to rugby and the community, and yeah, it's just been a natural kind of progression, and it's challenged me, and I've learnt a lot about the game on the other side as well, so it's been great.
And what about personally, where does the future lie for you? Do you think you'll ever move back home, or?
That's a good question, Siobhan. No, so I'm applying for my visa to extend at the moment, and they have announced a couple of international games back home in Aussie, which has been quite hard for me, because I have been training and playing really hard over here. So, and with the men, they have a cap threshold that you have to reach before you can come over and rejoin the Wallabies. So it's like 60 caps, and you're allowed to play in the European League, go back. But for the women, we just haven't set that amount. So I obviously came over, wanting to be a part of it over here and rub shoulders with the rest of the world internationally. And then obviously they're going to have games back home that I'm just not sure how to get back in the team quite, or how, you know, it's hard to just let that chapter of your life go when you yearned for it for so long, to play for your country, you know, and play for your country. So yeah, it's something that I'm hoping potentially I could look at a few visits home to play if possible. But no, I'd definitely like to go back and contribute to grassroots and you know, the AIU, and help them at a grassroots level like I've been doing here, and yeah, definitely try to get them at that professional level and a tier rules type reflection, you know, with 60 registered players at each club. I think would be a really great achievement of a 10-team competition. You know, playing onwards of 20 games in a season is a good standard.
And after dipping your toes in so many sports, do you think you could get involved in any more, or are you just rugby through and through now?
Oh my God. When I was back home, just before I came over to England, they just kind of, AFL has made a really big, outburst in Australia, and professional contracts and whatnot, and a few people said something to me, and I just thought, I can't learn another sport. So, no, I think, coaching is like a new challenge for me, so I think I'm good with any more sports changes.
And if you had one message or just one sentence for young girls, or indeed women that want to take rugby up as a hobby, what would you say to encourage them?
I would just say go down to your local club and get a part of it, like just join in. It's such a fun game just to play, you know, even if you don't want to be international. The challenges and the problem solving, as I mentioned, it's just so great for you as a person, I think, overcoming those things and having belief in yourself and confidence, and yeah, it's just so fun. I think as adults we don't play anymore, you know, everything's so serious in life, we forget how to play, and it's really great.
Fantastic. And we'll just finish on one last thing. Your highlight of your career so far, if you could pick one, what would it be?
Wow, that's a hard one. That is so hard.
There's too many.
That's so hard. It sounds so cheesy, but it would have to be the friendships. The friendships, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So like you've just got forever sisterhood of people around the world who would just move heaven and earth for you, and yeah, you can't really compare anything to that. So lots of good times to come because of that. But yeah, no, it'd probably be the World Cups. My first World Cup, I didn't actually start any of the games, and I didn't get much minutes at all, maybe 40 minutes at the most between the 5 games, you know, so I travel halfway across the world. And the coach said to me, oh, I've no doubt, like, you'll go on to be a really great player for Australia, Chloe. And I just had that in the back of my mind. And then Isla World Cup, I played every minute of every game. So I was pretty proud to progress. Yeah, and I think obviously it's a huge highlight coming over here and playing. So it's a very broad, I answered very widely spread over a few things, but yeah.
No, fascinating. Well, thank you, Chloe. That was
Awesome.
such a fascinating
Thanks, Ron.
insight into your career, and I hope you enjoyed watching that. And this is the first of many, hopefully, interviews with women's rugby players.
Well, that was amazing. Imagine being a professional athlete and travelling halfway around the globe to play rugby in England when you've never even been there before.
I know, it just shows the level of determination and passion involved in playing in one of the top women's leagues in the world. And that, of course, is just the first story we're going to bring you. We've got plenty more to come, so make sure that you subscribe to our channel and you'll get a notification as soon as our latest interview drops.
And please comment below to let us know who you want to hear from and find out more about in the women's game.
And of course, follow us on social media. The links are below, and tell everyone about the Women's Rugby Show. That's the only way we're going to be able to spread the word.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We can't wait to see you all again for the next episode.